Hello, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Crictime Podcast. It's been a while since the podcast has been released, but we've been uploading daily content on the channel. And as you can see on the screen, we've not got Suyash once again. I think he missed out on the last one, but today we've got a good replacement, I must say. His own brother, his own younger brother, if I'm not wrong, Shivam's joining us today. And before he gets on with the introduction, make sure you guys leave a like rating, make sure you subscribe, make sure you add us to your playlist, and leave a like rating below, buddy, because it really helps us out, and there's going to be content coming out every day of what's left of the IPL as well as the T20 World Cup that's about to start. So a lot to talk about today. So make sure you hit that subscribe and that bell notification to be notified every time we release a podcast or a video or even just a short, because trust me, the content's about to get as interesting as it can be in terms of cricket. Coming back to Shivam, how are you doing? Welcome to the podcast, where we've spoken a lot of cricket with your brother. Very excited to speak with you. I mean, I can see you've already got you're donning the 2024 RCB jersey. You've got some incredible posters behind you as well, which I'm sure have a lot of story behind each of them. But I'll give it on to you and let you introduce yourself and give yourself an introduction.
Yeah, hi Mohammed. Thanks for having me here. You got me as a replacement of my brother, and not very contrastingly, I'm also a very big RCB fan. So yes, let's cry together today because yesterday was a very hard day for us. What to say? I have been a very big fan of RCB like for quite some time now. So yeah, that's about me, and let's start discussing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can see a huge Kohli fan as well. I can see three posters or four posters in the background of Virat Kohli. We'll just dive straight into first Kohli to begin with, and then we'll talk about the qualifiers. But how bad do you feel for him? I mean, 16 years, same franchise. That look, I think that cap look we saw yesterday reminded of us of 19th of November, but we won't go into that. I know it's a very touchy topic with everyone.
Not only
But
the cab, but also the thing that he did with the bails last night. I think he
yeah.
removed the bails in disguise, so that is also his trademark becoming. I don't want that to happen in T20 World Cup as well. But you know what? Today Virat Kohli is more than the team for RCB. 90% of the followers that RCB has right now is because of Virat. So yeah, I feel bad for that guy. He again gave 100% of himself, like 100%, not even 100%. I would say 120%. If you check on the field, he was too aggressive. Whenever you like, if you felt that we had a 10% chance in yesterday's match, it was because of Virat Kohli. The run out you see, the
Hmm.
way he fielded, you see, So hats off to that guy. But yes, hard luck.
Yeah, I think at his age to be able to run from what's it called, long on, long off, and just run in, accurate throw right at the stumps, and all the bowler has to do, even if it's a very bad throw, is just targeted towards the stump, which is what Green had to do yesterday. Um,
Exactly.
but yeah, I mean, you feel for the guy, but you also think as an Indian cricket fan that this is the form of his life. I mean, that six he hit against Afghanistan 2 years back, was
Mm-hmm.
it, when to get his
Yeah.
71st century, and since
Yeah.
then everything has just gone how it's meant to go, and it's
Right.
gone his way. So it's his time right now to just be able to capitalize on that and do as much as he can, and irrespective of what the critics say, what the media says, what the news says. But Virat Kohli is Indian cricket right now, and Indian cricket is Virat Kohli right now, because not just because of his popularity, but because of the way he's been carrying himself for the team. Very much an unselfish behavioral player all throughout the IPL. We know we talked about Rohit Sharma being that kind of role in the ODI World Cup, but in the T20s, Virat Kohli has always done that, I'm sure he'll continue to do so. But diving right into it, the first qualifier, KKR Sunrisers Hyderabad, a very easy clinical performance, I'll say, for KKR, a very Gambhir-esque performance, very straight to the point. They
Correct.
came, they did what they had to do with the ball. They chased it down quite well as well, and they said, "Well, we're in the finals now." And I think 2 months back, that video of Gambhir giving a talk, saying on the 26th of May, we want to see ourselves at Chennai, has come to fruition, and then that's all because of the hard work that they've put in. What are your thoughts on that game? I think it was a very slow pitch, un IPL like pitch, I must say.
See, everyone was aware of that fact. It was all dependent on Head as well as Abhishek. That day, front up, Mitchell start 25 crores, all paid off. Head, for second ball, duck. And that's where, SRH got down. I think वो सबसे एक ऐसी बात थी जो खत्म कर दिया, तो मुझे तो लग रहा था हाफ
Yeah.
मैच वहीं पे डन था बिकॉज हेड एक ऐसा बंदा था जो हर मैच में आपको स्टार्ट दे रहा था, और जब वो स्टार्ट दे रहा था तो अभिषेक को भी मतलब एक वो मिल जा रहा था, अपर हैंड। तो वो लोग प्रेशर डोमिनेट कर पा रहे थे बॉलर्स के ऊपर। और आप अगर हिस्टोरिकली भी देखो इस सीजन में, तो केकेआर की बॉलिंग उतनी खास रही नहीं थी। दे वर द पीपल हु कंसीडर्ड आई थिंक द मोस्ट नंबर ऑफ 200s एज वेल, इफ
Yeah.
नॉट द मोस्ट देन क्वाइट अ फ्यू।
Hmm.
So they had enough opportunities to put pressure on their bowlers, but no, Stark paid off really well, and yes, he took 3 wickets and became the man of the match. I think he was the one who changed the match on there.
I think you can right before the match, no, the whole discussion was कि भाई Abhishek Sharma and Travis Head, as much as they're very good playing pace, they do struggle with spin, and we've seen that throughout the season. And KKR
Right.
were hoping कि भाई black soil pitch hogi. They've got people like Narayan, they've got what's it called? Uh, I forgot. I've
Varun
just blanked out.
Chakravarti.
Then
Yeah.
Chakravarti as well. So these two frontline spinners to get these two batsmen out, or at least restrict them at least. कि भाई चलो 190, 170 का target बना लेते हैं. But they did incredibly well. And as you said, Stark. I mean, throughout the season, everyone's made memes कि भाई 24 crore, 24 crore, 24. It's all been paid off, and that's what the whole point of this sort of feast is for that kind of player. You don't get them because you need him to. Obviously, you'd like him to be consistent throughout the tournament, but at the end of the day, if he gives you a performance like he did in the semifinals in the eliminator rounds, then the whole money is paid off because at the end of the day, he gives you the opportunity to make it to a final without having to fight too much. And that's exactly what Stark said. And you're
Right.
right in saying he deserved the man of the match, and he is the reason Kolkata is in that final. And I'm sure he'll look forward to bowling at Chipak as well. The other thing to note is the way that Kolkata's middle order played. I think one of their weaknesses
Right.
was Phil Salt leaving, right? That's something that was a bit
Mm-hmm.
of a concern. And Raminullah Gurbaz not having played in a while, having those sort of personal issues as well, must have so much going on in his mind. And yet Kolkata still beat through that and played so well. And Iyer, the captaincy obviously goes unnoticed because of Gautam Gambhir's mentorship. Other than that, his batsmanship as well. I think people very underestimate what Iyer has done for Kolkata this season as a captain as well as a batsman.
Mm-hmm. I would say SRH lost two of their wickets quite early. That's why they lost the match, because their middle order played really well. They were into the game at all the time. Rahul Tripathi tried to maintain the run rates, like they were around 120 mark after 13 overs, but they lost too many wickets, so they weren't able to cover up and reach to a point where they can get to 200 or something. So I think it was only the failure of the top order. Rajat Tripathi, Tripathi as well as Klassen gave you good runs during the middle overs. So yeah, those things were supposed to happen, but that happened in a very wrong place during the qualifiers. Let's
Yeah,
hope
I
that it
think
doesn't happen during qualifier two.
I mean, I think yeah, as an RCB fan, I would hope that you're the one supporting Sunrisers Hyderabad and not Rajasthan Royals at all.
Obviously.
Yeah, no, as much as we don't like Travis Head, as an RCB fan, I don't think anyone wants to be seeing Rajasthan Royals get into that final, let alone win it. But you're right in saying, Bhai, Tripathi has been their middle order solution. We saw the few collapses that Hyderabad had no throughout the season. Their whole
Mhm.
perspective was okay, we're doing really well in the opening side with Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma. And it's one of those things which was similar in KKR's sense as well, where the openers would either get you a 100-run partnership or they would be out in the first few balls. And it was a very big risk you were playing because then you'd have to completely be dependent on your middle order, especially in the case of Sunrisers, where I think there's a string of matches where their openers have managed to do everything and their middle order
Right.
hasn't had the opportunity to deal with the pressure. And
Exactly. So
suddenly,
usually what used to happen was SRH के ओपनर्स जो थे वो बहुत अच्छे रन बना देते थे शुरू में जाके, तो क्लासन को एक फ्री हैंड मिल जाता था। वो
yeah.
बिना सोचे समझे आके कंप्लीटली बैश आउट कर देता था बॉलर्स को। सो दे वर एबल टू गो टू 230 230 प्लस। सो बट ये कल नहीं चल पाया। क्लासन वाज इन अ गुड टच यस्टरडे एज वेल, बट उसका जो क्लियर गेम है वो है आके बैश करना बॉलर्स को, आके हिट करना। लेकिन कल वो अपने आप को कंट्रोल कर रहा था, इसलिए वो गलत तरह से आउट हो गया, अदरवाइज ही वाज गोइंग गुड।
Yeah, I mean, 152 is a very low strike rate if you speak about Henrik Klassen.
Right,
So,
right.
clearly, Kolkata had a plan in mind and they executed it really well to be able to get over the line. And in terms of their batting as well, I think, Venkatesh Iyer and Shreyas Iyer, both of them played incredibly well. As much as Sunrisers की innings में लग रहा था कि pitch is a bit slow, ball bat पे आ नहीं रही है, balls hit नहीं हो रही है, and I think both of those matches I think Ahmedabad is such a huge ground, and because
Right,
players realistically haven't had the chance to adjust to Ahmedabad, no, that they're used to 60 meters being a boundary. I think we'll get into the RCB game where I think it was more evident than it was in the Kolkata game.
right,
But clearly Venkatesh Iyer and Shreyas Iyer, both of them took Kolkata over the line. They'll be ecstatic that they're in the final. Um, Leaving RCB and Rajasthan, which I thought was going to be a very interesting match. Thoda bahut tha to a certain degree, but I think RCB just fell short. Just a few more runs on the board, and that could have been um,
right.
a key thing. One thing I would just like to start with is the my whole perspective on that was maybe RCB runs weren't short on the runs, but rather an early wicket. That drop catch Green did,
Drop catch of
that
Green. Yep,
missed a few misfields going their way, and then I think Jaiswal was it, or was it the other opener who was also dropped in the early stages?
Jaiswal.
So
It was Jaiswal.
yeah,
Yep,
and so if RCB would have taken those chances, the game would have looked completely different. वो जो मोमेंटम था ना स्टार्ट में जो राजस्थान रॉयल्स को मिल गया, that suddenly allowed, as you said was the case with Sunrisers throughout the season, Rajasthan to kind of knock it around and say कि भाई singles भी मिल रहे, that's fine, just rotate strike and we'll eventually game is ours.
सो आरसीबी पे आने से पहले मैं एक पॉइंट आउट करना चाहूंगा. आई थिंक whatever happened with SRH was it happened for good actually. If you see what happened with RCB was they were consistently winning last 6 matches, so they were not aware of their weak points. But SRH उनको पता चल गया है कि उनका मिडिल ऑर्डर तब नहीं खेल पाएगा जब उनका टॉप ऑर्डर बहुत अच्छा नहीं परफॉर्म कर रहा है. तो दे नीड टू वर्क ऑन दैट. दे स्टिल हैव टाइम टू वर्क ऑन दैट. आरसीबी के साथ ये मौका नहीं था. वो लोग 6 एलिमिनेटर्स खेल के आ रहे थे. ऑन टॉप ऑफ दैट उनका ये मैच भी एलिमिनेटर था. सो उनका भी लाइक जो मिडिल फेज में जो उनके बैटर थे, लेट्स से ग्लेन मैक्सवेल हो गया या लेट्स से फाफ डू प्लेसी टॉप ऑर्डर पे हो गए, तो ये लोग अपना जब 100% नहीं दे पा रहे हैं तो वो उसके यूज टू नहीं थे वो लोग, तो इसलिए वो लोग कल फेल हो गए एंड दे नेवर हैड अ सेकंड ऑप्शन, सेकंड चांस. सो सो यहाँ पर एसआरएच को एक बेटर एडवांटेज मिला हुआ है. दे कैन वर्क ऑन इट एंड दे कैन कम रियली स्ट्रॉन्ग इन द सेकंड क्वालिफायर.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the biggest drawback for RCB in my case, which I'll get to, was that ये भाई सिक्स हिटिंग इशू. एंड आप अगर देखो सारे विकेट्स जो हुए हैं वो लॉन्गर साइड बाउंड्रीज की तरफ हुए,
एग्जैक्टली.
कैच आउट्स, एंड दैट्स बिकॉज if you've played IPL for the last 2 months, you're used to boundaries being almost 55, 60 meters, maximum 65 hota hai in
राइट.
most grounds. Yeah, Eden Gardens is probably the ground where it's the longest hitting boundaries. And then suddenly when you go to a stadium like Ahmedabad, where you've maybe only played once or twice, and even that right at the start of the season, जैसे वो जो कोहली का वो जो wicket था, if you look at it, that shot has been his shot that he's played throughout T20s, and that's always
राइट.
six. ये तो blindly it's one of those shots where Kohli अगर time सही से गए it's always six, 9 out of 10 times. And yesterday, because that boundary is 75 meters, not 60 meters, you suddenly think, oh, that's a wicket.
राइट. राइट.
And
राइट.
and
बट कल मुझे ऐसा लगा कि जब वो शॉट खेल रहे थे तो उन पे थोड़ा सा प्रेशर था रन रेट अप करने का. यूजुअली जब वो शॉट खेल रहे थे तब वो उस बॉल की मेरिट पे खेल रहे थे, जब उनको लग रहा था कि वो बॉल को मैं हिट कर सकता हूँ. बट कल वो रन रेट के प्रेशर में हिट करना चाह रहे थे, इसलिए वो उतना अच्छा कनेक्शन नहीं हुआ जितना होना चाहिए था. इवन इफ यू लुक एट फाफ डू प्लेसीज विकेट, दैट वाज अ वेरी गुड शॉट. राउमन पॉवेल वाज अ वेरी गुड
yeah,
फैक्टर यस्टरडे इन द फील्ड. ओ माय गॉड, 4 कैचेस हिट. सो आई थिंक मतलब अगर किसी ने मैच ढंग से देखा हो तो ये भी कह सकता है कि रॉबिन पॉवेल वाज अ हिडन मैन ऑफ द मैच फॉर यस्टरडेज मैच बिकॉज ही टुक वेरी वेरी फिनोमिनल कैचेस. आई थिंक आउट ऑफ 4, 2 वर blinders, I'm sorry. And yeah, so I think kudos to that guy.
no, no, he did incredibly well. I think not just with the field but also with the batting as well.
हाँ.
He
Under
he played
pressure he
quite
was
well.
very
Yeah.
good with the bat. Yeah.
Exactly, and when as a batter, जब on the other end you keep seeing wickets fall, na, when you see Sanju Samson go and then you see suddenly what's it called, Hitmeyer go as well, and you realize, okay, I'm the last batsman now. इसके बाद कोई नहीं बचा हुआ. That's all on me, and suddenly to have to face Yash Dayal as well and Mohammad Siraj, and to be able to
Right.
counter that itself. I think, yeah, RCB just वही था where RCB's plan in against CSK was कि भाई we'll keep taking wickets in regular intervals. Their battles will take 5, 6 balls to settle. Seventh, eighth ball वो लोग मारेंगे. Ninth, 10 they'll be out. That's kind of tactic RCB did against CSK, and that's exactly what Rajasthan did yesterday. Each let's say 20 balls, 10, 15 balls, they kept taking wickets and they kept picking up
Right.
those wickets. And other than that, the start that Bolt gave them, I think we all watching yesterday were like, "Eh, bhai, ye Bolt ko hua kya hai?" Suddenly, this pitch
Yeah.
was doing something completely different.
But definitely, like we should give credit to R as well. If you could see, R Ashwin also bowled really fantastically yesterday. He came against Rajat Patidar, who is actually a very good player of
Yeah,
spin. If you see Yajuvendra Chahal's number in front of Rajat Patidar, he was very good. But Ashwin was able to, slow him down. So very good bowling from Ashwin. And yes, you said very well that Bolt was also very, very good in the power play. But Virat Kohli and Faf du Plessis managed to, get 50 odd runs in the 6 over power play.
yeah.
So they had a plan, they targeted Avesh Khan. So they were good at it. So I don't think Bolt was a difference. The difference was Ravi Ashwin because
I
no one
think
had an answer to him.
मेरे लिए दोनों ही difference है because भाई at the
Avesh
end
Khan
of
in
the
the death.
game,
Yeah.
Avesh in the death, yes, he improved his economy quite a lot. I think the first few overs went for quite a few runs, and then
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
improved
Yeah.
it later on. But मेरे लिए बस यही है कि there's 8 overs of let's say Bolt and Ashwin who combined have only given what 30 odd or 40 odd runs, less than 40 odd runs, because both of their
Right. Right.
economies are below 5 as well
Right.
in those 8 overs, where RCB could have. And not just that, but they've also picked up wickets as well. In those 8 overs, 4 wickets have been picked up as well. So
Mm.
we have to consider that and take that into consideration as well. So for me, it's all about ke bhai, in those overs, if RCB could have squeezed a few more runs, taken a few more risks, maybe, they could have maybe had that 180, 190 score, which I think in this eliminator is a very good target because mentally, जब batsmen walk out ना, they know कि भाई 190 is on the board and they need to chase it down. वो एक pressure रहता है, and suddenly the start Jaiswal and Tom gave Rajasthan, you already had the run rate come down from let's say 8.5 to 7, 7.5, and suddenly you're thinking कि भाई this is a very easy game. क्योंकि आज के जो modern T20 cricket game and we've seen throughout this IPL, even 8.5 run rate per over is considered a very low total and
Correct.
considered a very chaseable target. Even sometimes in pitches where 200 has been scored, it seemed like okay, bhai, this is still chaseable. There is still a chance. That RCB CSK game is a perfect example. RCB Sunrisers itself is a very interesting
Right.
call as well. Back in the day when I think Sunrisers scored what 280 and RCB scored
Right.
250.
Yeah, that was a very good match actually. One more place I want to point out where RCB made a mistake yesterday was sending Maxwell ahead of Karthik.
Yeah.
So if you would have seen the entire tournament, Karthik was coming at the place ahead of Maxwell because he has more experience and he's more used to the ball. Because Maxwell has played only let's say 9 odd matches and he has scored 52 or 54 runs in those 9 matches. So I don't think that was a good decision to send him up. He was under pressure and that was quite evident the way how he played the first ball and
Yeah.
got out. So I think this time Maxwell backfired for RCB, and I don't think that he'll be any more retained in this team because mega auctions are anyway coming up.
Yeah.
So that's another topic. But yes, that is something that RCB should have kept in mind before sending Maxwell in front of uh, Dinesh
Not
Karthik.
just not just that, but Karthik came after Lomror as well. No disrespect to what Lomror did, but
True,
that just gave
true.
Karthik such less time to be able to adjust. It was evident that he'll give away his wicket in trying to score as many as he can in that kind of area. You're right about saying Maxwell not being retained next year because of the mega auction. It's two very contrasting I guess scenarios, right?
Seasons. Yeah,
Where you've got well, the last 2 seasons he was incredible, but I'm just
yeah,
bringing into perspective what Stark has done for KKR, where he's made worth of what 24 crores. And on the other hand, you've got Glenn Maxwell, who's struggled to even put one or two performances together properly in this whole season. So he needs uh, to kind of go ahead and see and find out, okay, bhai, what have I done wrong this whole season and what I need to improve on.
So we should not be someone like, let's say, pointing out at Maxwell कि यार तुमने ऐसा क्यों किया, ऐसे जाके तुम सीधे छक्के क्यों मारने लगे. It's his game, it's his natural game. But the thing is, sometimes when you know that this is not what our team wants from me, 11th ओवर है, तुम्हें भेजा गया है कि तुम वहां पे थोड़ा सा स्टे करो, लेकिन नहीं, आप देख रहे हो कि 4 विकेट गिरे हुए हैं आपके, तो आपको थोड़ा सा मैच्योरिटी के साथ खेलना चाहिए. मतलब हम लोगों ने देखा है कि वो ऑस्ट्रेलिया के लिए कैसे कैसे इनिंग्स खेल के गए हैं, लाइक 200, अगर आपको याद हो. अफगानिस्तान सिमिलर सिचुएशन थी पैट्रिक कमिंस के साथ, वो मैच कहाँ से
Yeah.
कहाँ जिता दिया था. सिमिलर सिचुएशन कल भी थी, बट कल पता नहीं उनको लगा कि मैं नहीं कर पाऊंगा या फिर मैं कुछ ज़्यादा ही एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी कुछ कर दूंगा. तो मुझे नहीं लगता है कि मैच्योर्ड प्लेयर से वैसा कुछ एक्सपेक्टेड होता है. सो आई डोंट थिंक दैट मैक्सवेल प्रूव्ड व्हाट ही कैन एक्चुअली डू.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think जब आप 11th ओवर में आते हो ना, द लास्ट थिंग द टीम एक्सपेक्ट्स यू डू इज कि पहली बॉल पे आप लॉन्ग ऑन के ऊपर छक्का मारो, स्पेशली व्हेन देयर इज अ फील्डर देयर रेडी टू कैच इट आउट. यू इट्स आई डोंट नो, मैक्सवेल का तो मुझे बिल्कुल ही समझ में नहीं आया. एंड सडनली व्हेन यू लॉस्ट मैक्सवेल एज वेल, as a fan you lose that hope, because even though you've got a few other options to take it away, you think यार अब अगले 10 ओवर में कौन कर पाएगा कुछ भी. Plus Dinesh Karthik comes in so late, he doesn't have the time to be able to adjust and go for it. So yeah, I think overall in all वही हुआ कि भाई
और
आरसीबी ने, आई थिंक दे माइट हैव ओवर थॉट कि क्या करना है, कि ओवर एनालाइज द गेम, अपना नेचुरल गेम खेला नहीं जो इतने लास्ट
राइट.
6 गेम से खेल रहे थे, पर एवरी once in a while someone was popping up and putting up one or two performances, taking them over the line, and that's exactly what RCB needed. Because आप आरसीबी टीम के पर्सपेक्टिव से देखो तो आई थिंक ऑल ऑफ दीज 11 प्लेयर्स शुड बी लाइक कि यार हम लोगों ने पिछले 1 महीने एलिमिनेटर्स ही खेले हैं. we've played as eliminators. Every game we've walked into is a do or die situation. So this is
राइट.
nothing different than what we've been doing last 11 games. Let's continue our natural game. Why do we need to overthink something here?
I think Faf yesterday was also not very good at his captaincy skills. If you checked in the power play, Swapnil Singh bowled really well, and he did not get a second over.
Yeah.
Maxwell did not get even a single over in the entire match. He got Gaikwad out first ball in CSK's match, so I think he deserved at least a couple of overs yesterday. Swapnil Singh deserved more overs in the power play. As soon as Yash Dayal was introduced in the power play, they started smacking him up when that Yashasvi Jaiswal got a catch drop from Green. They started just
They should have learned from Trent Bolt and Rajasthan Royals. I mean, Rajasthan went for 3 overs for Bolt in the power play because they knew कि भाई यहाँ पे momentum बना हुआ है. Even if he doesn't pick up those wickets, there is another over where he can only concede 3 or 4 runs and we can get away with it. And that's all it
right.
was about. If Swapnil was going for less runs, continue him. Keep finishes overs, especially when you have someone like Glenn Maxwell who can take over. You've got Karan Sharma as well. So it's not like आपके पास spinners की कमी and suddenly you'll have all the fast bowlers left, right at the end. You had Swapnil, you had Karan Sharma, you had Glenn Maxwell. Plus आपके पास medium pacing अच्छे भी options थे Green and Ferguson में. Plus pacers भी अच्छे थे, death bowlers in Siraj and Yash Dayal. So you had a not perfect lineup, but in the sense कि भाई a lineup that can defend at 170 total. So it was just about properly doing it. And in the end, if I remember, Swapnil didn't even finish his overs. I think he only bowled 2 or 3 overs, in which the first one went really well. The second one, once Rajasthan had that momentum after Yash Dayal, वो
Right.
फायदा ही नहीं हुआ. It was a wasteful one, and if anything, he conceded a lot more runs in that than he would have if he maybe bowled simultaneously.
I don't want to be too harsh on RCB also. There are some things that you expect to go towards your way. Like वो अगर कैच चिपक जाता कैमरून ग्रीन का तो शायद मैच बदल जाता,
Hmm.
जैसे ट्रेविस हेड का हो गया था वर्ल्ड कप में. Because at that time I think it was around 2 overs gone and it was like around 4 or 6 for 0. And if that catch would have been taken, it would have been 6 for 1, and that pressure would have been different. And that again, that Maxwell's catch, oh my god, that was a dolly that he kept down. So yeah, those things are something which you don't expect in a knockout match to go in your way, but things.
Yeah, I think they say no. Okay, if it's not your day, then you can clearly say it's not. Then you can't do anything about it. It was one of those situations, and I think irrespective of everything that has happened, as fans, we can be proud of RCB what they've done. Seventh game के बाद लग रहा था कि भाई this season is going to be a very long season. Having playing the rest of the 6 games, knowing that you're mathematically out of the tournament, but they
अच्छा,
kept
कल
kept
का
the
एक
interest in.
एक चीज जो मुझे बहुत पसंद आई थी वो था सिराज का परफॉर्मेंस. दैट वाज
हम्म.
अनएक्सपेक्टेड. लास्ट ओवर जिन्होंने आके डाला था, 2 विकेट ले लिए थे, सडनली होप्स दे दी थी कि हाँ कुछ हो सकता है. तो एवरी आरसीबी फैन वाज लाइक हाँ बस रॉमन पॉवेल को आउट कर लो, अश्विन को बैटिंग नहीं आती है, उसके बाद ट्रेंट बोल्ट आ जाएगा. लेकिन नहीं, रॉमन पॉवेल हेल्ड हिज नर्व्स एंड या
वो वही
देयर
था
वाज अ गुड
बिकॉज आई
परफॉर्मेंस.
थिंक उस टाइम पे सिराज शुड हैव गॉन टू यश दयाल एंड सेड कि भाई cutters don't try it because he'll try and hit you. Just do what I did.
करेक्ट.
Just bowl wicket to wicket, single लेगा कोई मसला नहीं है. At the end, just keep pressure onto him. Eventually, he will try and hit it big. वो एक natural batter's game है कि भाई I need to hit one big shot to be able to say कि भाई चलो now the runs are less than the balls. So this is now going towards us. But yeah, so at the end of the day, it is what it is for RCB. I'm sure they'll try and do something about it next season, and mega auction is a good opportunity for them to rebuild. And we'll all be back here thinking, "Hey, RCB can do this, RCB can do this," but as we've done for the last 16 seasons. But yeah,
अगले साल
the
कप नाम दे.
we go again. Uh, but yeah, so Rajasthan plays Sunrisers Hyderabad at Chipak. Who are your favorites on that one today?
I think SRH is going to win that match. I'm supporting them.
Hmm.
RR is some team, if their players stick in, then they'll win it. Otherwise, I don't think they really have a chance. So यशस्वी जायसवाल पिछले मैच में काफी मतलब सो खेल रहे थे. He got chances. He was taking time to chip in, but when he got going, he was very good. So जब आपको मोमेंट मिलते हैं ना, जब आप जायसवाल या फिर दूसरा जो ओपनर है, उनका तो नाम ही इतना मुश्किल है लेना एक.
Yeah, I just
तो
call him Tom. Tom is like uske is
या
part of his team.
सो मतलब जब ऐसे मतलब आप चांसेस को यूटिलाइज कर लेते हो ना, तो आप उनकी मिडिल ऑर्डर में आप उसमें घुस सकते हो. द अदर पॉजिटिव दैट राजस्थान गॉट यस्टरडे वाज शिमरन हेटमायर. ऑल्दो ही डिड नॉट प्ले दैट वेल, बट ही बढ़िया एक सॉलिड परफॉर्मेंस बीच में ऐड कर सकते हैं वो गोइंग फॉरवर्ड इन द टूर्नामेंट. सो इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर गिव्स यू दैट
वो
ऑप्शन
एक
टू
वो
ब्रिंग
एक
हिम इन,
एडेड
राइट?
fear भी रहता है ना, as long as you have someone like Powell or Hitmyer at the crease,
एग्जैक्टली.
even though they've not been informed by Hitmyer has not played almost a month of cricket because of injuries, right? And suddenly yesterday he comes back and there is still fear in that bowling attack or any bowling attack to say कि भाई this guy has got the ability to hit it hard. So it's the fear that you can use to your advantage.
And yesterday he showed a glimpse of what he can do. Even he played 14 balls, he managed to score 26, where everyone else was struggling that time. So that is what you expect from your senior players. That is what you expected from Maxwell as well. But yes, things every time doesn't go
Yeah,
your way.
I agree. I think for me, in terms of this eliminator, I think SRS should do it. It's a very small ground. Spinners will be in play. Chahal is going to have, and Ashwin as well. Both of them are going to enjoy
Chennai
this
is
pitch. But
a Chennai is a very slow pitch, so I don't
hmm,
expect a very high scoring match there. So it can be troublesome for SRH as well. If they manage to, get going good with their spinners, then I
yeah,
think they'll have the upper hand.
I think one advantage both of these teams have is that they would have played at the Chepak pitch right before Kolkata do. So in the final, there is a chance that one of these teams actually has a higher chance of winning. Because even if it is on a different pitch, but you've still understood the dimensions of the ground. You've still understood what worked on a day or not,
Right.
because there are still factors that come into play, not just the pitch. So yeah,
एक
it will
और
be a very
एडवांटेज है
hmm,
आरआर के पास. दे हैव अ वेरी गुड स्पिनिंग लाइनअप. दे हैव
yeah,
यजुवेंद्र चहल एज वेल एज रवि अश्विन, एंड रवि अश्विन इज इट्स हिज होम ग्राउंड चेन्नई.
yeah.
So he knows that pitch very well, and you
Hmm.
know how good he is right now in his bowling. So I think it will be difficult for SRH batters to counter him.
Exactly. I mean, his fingers must be like on edge right now. कि भाई किसी तरह से चेन्नई के pitch में उतार दो, and I just want to ball those 4 overs. And those 4 overs, he'll enjoy that so much playing at his home ground as well. A lot of talk about the IPL, bhai, but the main aim is the T20 World Cup. And right before we go there, one guy who's been there for India in the T20 World Cups, the 2007 one, by MS Dhoni, he's had a great IPL, I would say, in terms of what he's done. But at the same time, there's been a lot of calls for him to retire and make way for, I guess, the youngsters and for players to shift around. And ahead of the mega auction, it's the perfect chance for Chennai to say, "Okay, theek hai, you've had your time. Now let us rebuild and let us get a wicketkeeper who deserves to be there for Chennai." I mean, I say this because all I've seen Dhoni do this season is come in at number 8, number 9 position, which is as a finisher. not the right position. Come in a few situations where Chennai has already lost the game or the game has already been made for Chennai, and all he has to do is just stand there and help the other person out, or just play the game out for net run rate. So, what are your thoughts on this? And no hates to Dhoni, भाई कोई आना नहीं मेरे comment section में कहने के लिए कि I hate Dhoni. I love Dhoni, but there is always a conversation had to have had about a player who looks like needs to now say thank you to the game and retire, irrespective of, yes, he would have loved a farewell at Chipak, but I guess sometimes you don't get the farewell you deserve.
See, लोग कहते हैं कि there is no player bigger than the game, but I think MS Dhoni has now become bigger than the game. People want to see him. People want to see him more than CSK winning the match. So, but yes, no offenses to him because he's playing really good this season. He's doing his job really well. It's just that he is coming way too down as expected. Like उसको आना चाहिए number 6, number 7 पे, but he's coming at number 8, at sometimes at number 9 as well. So that is what we do. We as fans don't expect from him. बट जितना उन्होंने खेला है उतना उन्होंने बहुत ही अच्छा खेला है. लाइक उन्होंने अपना बेस्ट दिया है. जब जब मौका पड़ा है तब तब उन्होंने लाइक सिक्सेस मारे हैं, फोर्स मारे हैं. और लास्ट मैच भी जो उनका था आरसीबी के खिलाफ, व्हेन सैंटनर गॉट आउट, एवरीवन वाज अफ्रेड कि एमएस आएगा तो वो जिता देगा. तुम सैंटनर को आउट मत करो, एमएस को मत लाने दो. तो that fear still exists. So I think it's very sad to say, but he should retire. But no, he's performing really well, so he can push himself to one more year.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, no, because even at number 9, he's done a decent contribution to Chennai's batting, but it's one of those things कि भाई ठीक है, maybe he can continue as a batsman, as an impact player. This is a perfect time for him to say कि भाई you guys keep a wicket keeper in your team, and I'll come in as a batter, and you can sub me out when you need a bowler, and I'll eventually
So
become one of those batters who can be subbed out like every team has been doing so far this season, subbing out their main bowler for a batsman or a batsman for a main bowler. So that can be a possibility as well for next season if he actually does want to continue and see if he can win another title for Chennai.
see, they had one more problem. I think Conway ruled out very early in the tournament itself, so
Yeah.
they did not have a backup keeper. That's why I think MS Dhoni he did the wicket keeping for like 20 overs, and then he was not able to come at number 6 or let's say 7 when there were a lot of overs left. So he pushed himself down. So yeah, when age comes up, then you're not so fit enough. That was quite evident. एक दो रन लेने के बाद ही वो थक जाते थे.
Yeah.
लाइक
Something you
पहले
never saw
धोनी
with
लाइक
Dhoni.
या
Yeah.
राइट, पहले धोनी आते थे लाइक 40-40 रन दौड़ लेते थे और लाइक सांस भी ज्यादा नहीं फूलती थी उनकी. बट अब तो लाइक एक रन दौड़ जाते थे और वहां पे बैठ
Yeah.
जाते थे.
I mean,
सो
remember that video of him running next to Hardik Pandya, was it, and Krunal Pandya, and suddenly him being behind them and suddenly just overtaking them in the span of 100
करेक्ट
meters, just showing that how
करेक्ट.
fit he was even at his age in the 2019 World Cup. Um,
सो आई थिंक दे शुड लुक कि कौन सा हम लोग को एक विकेट
hmm.
कीपर ला सकते हैं, या फिर डेवन कॉनवे को अगर वो फिट हो जाए तो कैसे हम फिट इन कर सकते हैं.
I
सो
think Pant is a good move for them. I know he's the captain of Delhi Capitals, but if they can somehow bring Pant to Chennai, na, so that'll be a good trade to see. I mean, we've seen Hardik trade to Mumbai and Green even before the auction, so
I
that can be
think
something that
I
can happen
think
internally.
that is very optimistic because Pant directly coming from that injury and directly
Yeah.
becoming the captain of DC, I think it shows a lot of trust that his owners have on him. So I don't think that trade is going to happen. But yes, if that happens, then it's very good for the CSK fans.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Right before we end this podcast, a quick discussion on the not Chennai coach, on the Indian team coach. Right, Dravid's contract is up; he's going to be finished after the T20 World Cup. So, I think irrespective of what happens, BCCI has made it clear that they want to go with someone new. Gautam Gambhir is in the contention. They've got Justin Langer as well, the ex-Australian Test cricket coach. We've got Mahela Jayawardene in there as well, which I don't understand where that comes from. I think his experience at Mumbai maybe might be a factor into it. And there's also Darren Fleming, who is there, the Chennai coach as well, in that discussion. So
Stephen Fleming.
Stephen Fleming, sorry, not
Yeah.
Darren. I keep saying Darren Fleming. For me, I think the clear one would be Justin Langer. The way he handles the dressing room, or Gautam Gambhir. But well, Justin Langer more than Gautam Gambhir, which I'll explain, but I'll let you quickly say who you think is the best option in there.
मेरी मान लो गौतम गंभीर को ले आओ. That's the best for the Indian team.
See, the
You know,
reason
you can
I'm
see his track record. You can see his track
hmm,
record. How he was as a captain with KKR. He was very good. How he was as a mentor with LSG. You know, you can see where LSG is right now and where it was with when Gigi was the mentor. They qualified both the seasons. So I think Gigi is a very good, tactician. And again, when he came back to KKR, they are again the most favorites for this IPL. So I think he's very good thinker. He has a very good brain, cricketing brain. So yeah.
yeah, I think for me it's like the only reason I'm a bit hesitant on Gautam Gambhir is that I think he's not in a bad way, but he's very dominating, right? And he'll put all of these egos aside, bhai, jiski bhi ho, chahe wo Hardik ho, chahe wo Kohli ho, anyone, he can put anyone aside and he can teach them a lesson if he needs to. But I think that might come in the way of picking what's best for India. And
I
once that
agree.
happens, वो एक hindering chance ho sakta hai. And it just adds on to all of the sort of issues we're seeing in Indian cricket, which is why we've not won an international trophy. No disrespect to Gautam Gambhir and his coaching abilities. He's been incredible
See,
with KKR. But this ego issue might arise to something, is all I'm saying. And the last thing I want is someone like a big name or someone who's performing well to sit out of a tournament because he might have had said something in bit before for Gautam Gambhir, or he might have disagreed with something. So that's the only reason. I think IPL is a very short test of egos and of characters because it's the span of 2 months and you're done. But the Indian cricket is a very big project that you work on for years and years and you build on to. So it
what
for
I
me that's
feel
the only thing.
is Gautam Gambhir was a part of 2011 World Cup as well. So he
Yeah.
has that mindset. He knows how to win matches, how to win big tournaments. Also, when you say that there will be some ego issues or let's say whatever, I don't think that's a matter. जब LSG की फाइट हुई थी विराट कोहली के साथ तो गौतम गंभीर इवन विराट कोहली इंडिया का बेस्ट प्लेयर है he stood by side of Naveen ul Haq because he was
Yep.
his teammate. So
Yep.
he is a person who will always defend his teammate. So I think that is a very good positive sign for a coach, and I think he'll be the best option. Also, जब आप कहते हो कि गौतम गंभीर, मैं कहता हूँ कि 2024 का जो T20 वर्ल्ड कप है उसके बाद उसको असाइन किया जाएगा. So you don't have any very big tournament coming up. I know 2025 का Champions Trophy है, but that is again in subcontinent in
Yeah.
Pakistan and let's say some other neighboring countries. So that is not a very big deal. I think you can prepare yourself, not a very coach dependent task. So I think it's a very good platform set for Gautam
Yeah.
Gambhir for 2027. So और आपको ये भी देखना है कि आपका रोहित शर्मा और विराट कोहली जो है वो फेज आउट करना है उनको धीमे धीमे
Yeah.
बिकॉज दे आर आल्सो गेटिंग ओल्ड सो यू नीड सम good leader to guide the youngsters you have. I think Gautam Gambhir has that ability. And to connect with the Indian players, you need to have someone who is Indian. I don't think Justin Langer or let's say Mahila Jayawardene will be able to do that thing.
But that could have been said for the 2011 World Cup as well, right? It was an
I agree.
Indian coach. Gary Kirsten didn't speak an ounce of Hindi, and yet India was winning the World Cup. And
But
granted that dressing room was
2011 was another game because you had a lot of seniors in that team. You had Gigi,
that's what it
you
is.
had Virendra, you have Sachin, you have Dhoni, you have Harbhajan Zahir, a lot of them. But this time you have a very young batch, only 2 to 3 old names like Kohli and Rohit and Bumrah, let's say. So that's quite a very inexperienced team. So I believe you need someone who can, move them in the right path.
Yeah, no, I think you're right in saying that the dressing room is very different from what it was in 2011, and these players need more guidance than coaching. They've
Exactly.
got the cricketing talent. They need guidance on how to handle situations and how to handle pressure. If you look at India in the last 10 years, following that 2013 Champions Trophy win, in every ICC tournament, we've been part of the semi-final or final. Where have we always collapsed and how have we always lost is because we've taken too much pressure in those games. In the knockout stages, we've been thrashed in all of them. I think if you look at the New Zealand one, there was a collapse. There was a collapse in the Australian one. There's a collapse in the 2017 Champions Trophy as well. Test Championship as well. We lost those two matches against New Zealand and Australia respectively. So there's always been that sort of inability to handle that pressure. And you're right in saying Gautam Gambhir is a serial winner, right? With KKR, with
Right.
India itself, that right from the start, 2007 World Cup, 2011 World Cup. He's been
Not
part
only
of a
as a
very,
leader, I think as a player itself, he was in the 2007 World Cup. He
yeah.
played very well in the final as well and the 2011 final as well. So he's a big match player. So he can, tell your youngsters how to play, how to handle those crutch situations, those pressure related situations. So I think that's a best choice for the
Call
Indian
me
team
a
at the
call me
moment.
a nostalgia merchant, but I think what I want for Indian Test cricket is Ravi Shastri to come back and Kohli to come back as a captain and us go into Border Gavaskar Trophy with that amped up aggressive Kohli and give it back to the Australians as they deserve. Because there's nothing more I enjoy seeing than Kohli just give it back to them the way they deserve it. I mean, by 2019 की वो series, I always remember that, suddenly there's a wicket and Kohli just runs. He just runs. He doesn't care where
Right.
he's running, right on the face. He'll do anything he wants because he knows कि भाई, Test cricket is a very mental game, and I think that's what Ravi
True.
Shastri did as well, right? He said, doesn't matter, pitch doesn't matter, score doesn't matter. What matters is the bowlers picking up 20 wickets, and that's all we care about. For Kohli to walk out at Lords and say 60 overs of hell is what we want to make the English players feel at their own home ground is something that I don't think I'll witness with any other Indian coach, any other Indian captain.
Right.
Even in Dhoni's captaincy, we weren't as aggressive as we were. So in terms of Test cricket, भाई मेरा तो very clear है कि भाई शास्त्री को वापस लाओ और कोहली से कहो there you go, captaincy is all yours, take it away, bring us back the Gavaskar Trophy. No disrespect to everything going on right now, but it's a bit of a nostalgic thing. कि भाई I want to see Kohli back into captaincy, especially in Test matches. I think he deserves it. Yeah, he retired from white ball cricket captaincy because he thought कि भाई मेरे पास another 5-6 years हैं of test captaincy and I want to continue that legacy that I've created. But sadly, there are external things that
आई थिंक
happen.
उस समय कुछ कंट्रोवर्सीज हुई थी इसलिए
Yeah,
उसने कैप्टेंसी छोड़ी थी टेस्ट की बट टेस्ट कैप्टेंसी वाज लाइक ही वाज सपोज्ड टू डू दैट ही वाज द बेस्ट एट दैट आई थिंक कोई बहुत जल्दी ऐसा दिख भी नहीं रहा है मुझे कि कोई उसको ओवरटेक कर पाएगा सो यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट इन सेइंग दैट वी वांट विराट कोहली बैक एज अ टेस्ट कैप्टन बट व्हाट आई फील इज aggression doesn't only matter in tests you
yeah,
saw what happened in CSK's match against RCB Virat Kohli was in the same mood and he was very aggressive, and that's why RCB was able to control their nerves and play that way and win by 27 runs. So
yeah,
aggression always plays a role when you are going for the trophy, when you are going for the match. So that was something that was there in Virat Kohli, and yes, as a Virat fan, I definitely want Virat Kohli back as a captain. Let's see.
yeah. Same. I think. I mean, every record belongs to him, no, doesn't it? Almost every record, if not. And he doesn't seem to stop any day. You think this tournament might be his last, and you suddenly think, no, if it is his last, India's in trouble. If it is his last, RCB is in trouble. And suddenly it just keeps going and keeps going. And even when you spoke about, phasing Kohli and Sharma out, as much as that is true, I look at Kohli and I say, "Okay, does he really need being phased out? I mean, the guy is still scoring centuries for fun. The guy is still running twos and threes when he needs to in those pockets, and he's still as fit as an 18, 19-year-old. I mean, that kind of World Cup may running with Shubman Gill, KL
Right.
Rahul, and this guy is calling for duos in areas where normally people would just be fine with a single. And he's not just
Uh,
making it, but he's
but
making it with time remaining.
But when I say phasing out, I do
Yeah,
not want to say that let him like move him out of the team. Let's
yeah,
say
obviously.
don't be don't be overly dependent on that guy.
Yeah,
He has done it for like let's say 15, 16 years. We need someone else to step up. So
yeah.
team doesn't win like with just individual performances. You need the entire team to step up. I think someone recently said, Ravi Shastri said that if individual performance were considered, Virat Kohli would have won the most number of IPLs.
Yeah,
So you know how well he performs, but it's a
I
team
think
game. So
he's
if
the
you
only
you
he's
want
the only
someone to
player he's the only player other than Chris Gale to score 700 runs in 2 seasons,
right,
and
correct.
all four of them. I mean, Gale twice and Kohli twice, both belong to RCB, and yet individual performances don't take you far away, um, and they don't bring you the trophy, and that's exactly what
So
shows. I mean, you look at his.
last time when Virat Kohli scored 700 plus, it was 2016, and now it is
Yeah,
2024. So like in 8 years, nothing have changed. The team
yeah.
is entirely dependent on Virat Kohli. Still, it was back then as well. So you
I mean,
need to
he
move on. You
averages
need to
in a
yeah.
format where you need to score. a quick 30, quick 50 in T20s. The guy averages what, 54 in international cricket in T20s.
Hmm.
He averaged 57 in this IPL. So it just goes to show that this guy is beyond just, just the age that he is at the moment. And he's one of those players who I think if kept on playing and played the way he is playing right now, could go very long. And that 2027 World Cup isn't far off for him. Sachin played
मुझे
it
तो
when he was what, 38, 39, and Kohli isn't far
राइट
off from that. Especially as a
लाइक
batter,
मुझे
by
तो अभी
batter,
भी
you need to run between wickets.
एग्जैक्टली मुझे तो अभी भी हंसी आती है उन लोगों के बारे में सोच के जो कह रहे थे कि T20 वर्ल्ड कप में विराट कोहली की प्लेस नहीं है। ऑरेंज कैप ब्रो, 150 के स्ट्राइक रेट से ऑरेंज कैप जीतना, इट्स लाइक किसी के बस की
The
बात नहीं है। आप
the
यशस्वी जायसवाल
three
को देख लो, आप
next,
शुभमन गिल को देख लो।
I think you look at the orange cap holders, by the टॉप में कौन है? कोहली है. The next few ones are not even close to 100, 200 runs का difference
करेक्ट,
है गायकवाड़ में और इन
राइट
सब
राइट।
में. So it just goes to show how much levels above he is with the game that he's been playing for India. And I think we can sit here and appreciate him for days and days and days. And उसके भाई इतने पॉडकास्ट बना सकते हैं हम लोग कोहली के जैसे एक्colades के बारे में बात करके, इंडिविजुअल और टीम. But yes, Shivam, very interesting conversation today. We've spoken about the IPL, we've spoken about Indian cricket, the two biggest of I guess the events that are happening in cricket for the next few months. Thank you guys for watching. Shivam, thank you for coming to the podcast. I look forward to having you again. It's been an interesting conversation. Well, our team is out, but good luck to whoever wins the IPL. We're hoping that it's not Rajasthan Royals at the end of the day. Thank you once again, Shivam. Thank you to everyone for tuning into the podcast, for watching the podcast and listening to it. If you're listening to it on an audio platform, make sure you add it to your playlist. Make sure you subscribe to our channel for daily cricket content related to the IPL, as well as the T20 World Cup coming up. The Border Gavaskar Trophy is coming up as well, so don't miss out on any action. Make sure you follow all of our social media pages, because that's where we introduce all of the breaking news, like the Indian coach selection, as well as Virat Kohli's updates. We'll see you guys next time. Until then, stay safe.